All right, let's talk about one of the most hyped up credit cards in India, the HDFC Infinia. We're going to do a full reality check on it today. Because, it's famous for this one massive, almost unbelievable promise.
And this is it. This number right here, a mind-blowing 33.3% return on your spending. I mean, that's the figure that grabs everyone's attention, right? And it's pretty much the central myth we're going to tear apart today. So let's get into it.
So, the big question is this for real? The best credit card return in all of India? Or is it just some really, really good marketing hype? That's what we're here to figure out. We're going to look at the numbers, the real-world headaches, and all that sneaky fine print.
Okay, first things first. Let's tackle that incredible 33.3% promise head on. Now, as completely wild as that number sounds, it's not just made up. There is a theoretical way to get there. But trust me, the path is super, super narrow. So you're probably wondering, how on earth do they even calculate that? Well, it all starts with HDFC's SmartBuy portal. That's where you get your base rate of 10x reward points. But then, and this is the key, that gets multiplied by these special, and when I say special, I mean really rare promotional offers that might only pop up once or twice a year. Yeah, so to actually hit this number, you need a perfect storm of events. First, you have to be using the SmartBuy portal to get those 10x points, which by itself is a pretty decent 5% return. But then, you have to hunt down one of those super rare 3.33x bonus multipliers and stack it right on top. So, is it possible? In theory, yes. Is it your average Tuesday? Absolutely not. And this chart really shows you the gap between the promise and the reality. The marketing screams 33.3%, right? But in the real world, even when you catch one of those amazing promotions, you're looking at something closer to 16 or 17%. Now, don't get me wrong, that is still a fantastic return, but it's literally half of the number they're advertising. But here's the kicker. This is the part a lot of people just don't realize. For all your normal, everyday spending, grabbing groceries, filling up on fuel, going out for dinner, that amazing return just collapses. It plummets to a measly 0.33%. For a so-called premium card with a huge annual fee, that is just shockingly bad. All right, let's move on because this gap between what's promised and the painful reality, it's not just about the numbers, it actually bleeds into the whole experience of using the card, especially when you run into a problem. Just take the reward points, for instance. They promise you'll see those sweet SmartBuy bonus points in your account in just a couple of days. But the reality? You could be waiting 60, even 90 days. That's not just a small delay, that's a huge operational mess. And honestly, this quote from a user just nails the frustration perfectly. I mean, think about it. When you're shelling out 12,500 rupees every single year for a fee, you expect the support team to actually be supportive, right? You expect them to know what they're talking about. And the problems are pretty consistent across the board. People talk about a painful escalation process, reps who don't even seem to know the card's main benefits, and just crazy long wait times to get simple issues fixed. It really feels like you're paying for a premium car, but getting the service of a budget rental. Okay, so it's clearly not a perfect card. But what if you already have it, or you're just dead set on getting it? How do you actually make it work for you? Let's dive into what we're calling the Smart Optimizer's playbook. This right here is probably the single most valuable trick in the book. It's the Amazon voucher route. So instead of shopping on Amazon directly, you do this little two-step. First, you go to the SmartBuy portal, you buy Amazon Pay gift vouchers, that's how you lock in your 10x points, and then you use those vouchers for all your shopping. It's one extra step, sure, but it means you're effectively getting a 5% return on basically everything you buy from Amazon.
And it's not just for Amazon. There are other smart moves you can make. Like always, and I mean always, compare flight prices. Sometimes SmartBuy inflates the price, which just cancels out your rewards. Another pro tip, stock up on gift vouchers for brands you use all the time whenever there's a promotion. And maybe the most important thing, try to time your huge purchases like a new TV or a phone to line up with those 2 or 3 big campaigns HDFC runs every year.
But after all that planning and all that work, what's the magic number? You know, the point where it's all worth it? Well, here it is. The bottom line you really need to remember. To make that huge annual fee and all this complexity actually pay off, our sources say you need to be spending at least 8 lakh rupees a year on this card. Any less than that, and the math just starts to turn against you.
Which brings us to the million-dollar question, right? With all its power and all its problems, is the HDFC Infinia actually the right card for you? Let's break down who this card is really for.
Okay, let's make this super clear. This card is an absolutely fantastic fit if you spend more than 8 lakhs a year, most of that spending happens online through SmartBuy, and you actually kind of enjoy the game of hunting for deals and optimizing rewards. But, on the other hand, if you value simplicity, if most of your spending is offline, or if you expect top-tier customer service when you have a problem, honestly, you should probably just look somewhere else. And let's really zoom in on 2 of its biggest weak spots. Thinking about taking it on your next international trip? You might want to think again. That 3.5% foreign exchange fee is surprisingly high for a premium travel card. And what about for your daily coffee or grabbing groceries? Well, like we said, that pathetic 0.33% return just isn't cutting it.
So what if you just listened to all that and realized, yep, I'm definitely in the bad fit column? What should you be looking at instead? Let's talk about some smarter and often much simpler alternatives. If you're a high spender but want better service or perks, cards like the Axis Magnus or the Amex Platinum Travel are really strong competitors. If your spending is more moderate, something like the HDFC Millennia or the Amazon Pay ICICI card offers amazing value without the high fees. And you know what? If you just want something dead simple that works, the SBI Cashback card gives you a flat 5% on online spending. It's really tough to beat that for simplicity.
Look, if there's one thing you take away from this, let it be this. Don't get sucked in by the marketing hype. The best credit card for you is always, always the one that fits how you actually spend your money, not the one with some crazy theoretical return. And that really is our final take on the HDFC Infinia. In the right hands for that very specific type of person, it's an incredibly powerful tool. There's no doubt about it. But it is not the universal one-size-fits-all solution that the marketing might have you believe. Which leaves us with just one last question for you to think about. Is chasing the absolute maximum reward worth putting up with the absolute maximum complexity? Your answer to that question will tell you everything you need to know. Thanks for tuning in.